Good afternoon. I'm Joseph Latino, president of Allergy Technologies, home of ActiveGuard mattress liners. Very proud to be able to introduce some of the foremost entomology experts in the country, Drs. Jim Ballard, Dr. Susan Jones, and Dr. Gail Getty, who will be talking about some of the research both in the lab and the transition that we're making from lab research into field trials.
Hi, this is Jim Ballard, Ballard Pest Management Consulting, and I became involved with ActiveGuard in 2008. Initially, we wanted to find out some basic information on how the product could be used in the field, so I contracted with some individual contract laboratories to generate some data for product understanding and learn something about the weaknesses and the strengths of the product. After that, I initiated some field trials with pest control companies to try to determine how the product would be positioned and used in the control of bed bugs in the field. And I will turn that over to Susan Jones for laboratory.
Okay. Hi, I'm Dr. Susan Jones. I'm a professor of entomology at The Ohio State University. In 2013, we published a paper in the journal Insects in which we talked about the lack of repellency of the product. One of the issues was there was concern, well, maybe the bugs just won't stay in contact with the fabric. And so in extensive laboratory trials, we showed that indeed the bugs would stay in contact. There was equal number of bugs that would transition from a control side of the fabric to the ActiveGuard side of the fabric. We also looked at the direct mortality of the bugs as well as some of the behavioral effects. From there, we moved into another very in-depth study looking at sublethal effects. And what we found was that with just 1 minute of contact with the ActiveGuard fabric, we were seeing very subtle changes in the feeding behavior of the bugs. With 10 minutes of contact with the ActiveGuard fabric, the bugs were no longer probing, they weren't feeding on a blood meal, and so this then translates into their reproductive impact. Because out of all of the bugs that we tested, only a single female was able to lay eggs, and she laid fewer eggs than did the controls. So the ActiveGuard in the laboratory trials had these very, very significant sublethal effects. So now we'll move to Gail Getty, and she will talk about some of the things she's doing with ActiveGuard.
Thank you, Susan. Yes, I'm Gail Getty. I'm a retired University of California, Berkeley research entomologist and the founder and principal of Domus Institute. I became really intrigued with the ActiveGuard especially when I saw Dr. Jones's research. I think there's a bulk of research that's already been done by Allergy Technology that is significant, but I think your research really addressed so many of the issues I think that we needed answers to in the industry. I do a lot of field trials and field work, which is my specialty in multi-unit housing, especially those in low-income housing. And I see a real need for some preventative measures within that realm. And I see also that we leave sticky traps behind as ways of monitoring. And I see the ActiveGuard product as something that is put on the box spring and is left there with the client and with the customer, and is working over time. And it's a product that goes well with a bed bug management program, taking multiple products together, multiple ways of managing bed bugs in a building, and I see this as a really a good part of that type of program in multi-unit housing.
Thank you very much for listening to Drs. Ballard, Drs. Jones, and Gail Getty. I urge you to continue to monitor Allergy Technologies and ActiveGuard's progress in looking at various verticals like lower income housing and other places which are repositories for bed bugs. Thank you very much.